Hello, this is Anil Anwar, and you're watching the right news. So first of all, I have some wonderful updates for you regarding elections. The mainstream media actually shows that Joe Biden leads in both national and state polls at this time. Though President Trump needs a big, polling error in his favor, according to the mainstream media, if he's going to win. Although the error might not have be as big as you might think looking at national polls, Pennsylvania. We all know that. Mostly, mainstream media continue showing polls Joe Biden has gotten in Wisconsin or in Midwestern states lately. He's also gotten a number of strong results in Michigan and even Iowa, but likely chance President Trump is winning the state, according to the CTM forecast. Mainstream media says it's closer race in Pennsylvania, though, as Biden only leads Trump by roughly 5 points in polling average, but according to the insider advantage, mainstream media says it's closer race in Pennsylvania, though, as Biden leads Trump by roughly 5 points in polling average. But according to the insider advantage, polls show the Trump 2 points ahead, 48%, and Joe Biden 46%. CTM election experts believes that President Trump not only win Pennsylvania, but win Michigan, Iowa, and Michigan as well. So the expert says the President Trump win Wisconsin, Iowa, and Michigan. The important question here, everyone actually raised this question: is Florida the most important state in 2020 presidential election? Florida, the mere mention the state when taking about politics brings smiles to Republicans' faces and sends shiver down Democratic spines. Florida is where liberal dreams are broken for Democrats. Florida is like an unreliable friend. In 2000, 537 votes delivered the White House to Republican George W. Bush instead of Al Gore. In 2016, despite losing the popular vote at the national level, Donald Trump achieved popularism in enough states to achieve a comfortable electoral college victory. The results from Florida, however, were the first flashing sign that Democrat Hillary Clinton was in trouble on election night in 2016. Since winning the presidency, President Trump has lavished attention on Florida, a reflection of how important the state is to his electoral strategy. President Trump referred to Florida as his home state before a cheering crowd of thousands of supporters at an airport rally in northwest city of Pensacola on Friday, 23rd October 2020. And the following that day, he traveled to Palm Beach to cast his ballot in person. Congressman Matt Gaetz, who represents Pensacola in House of Representatives, laid out the stakes in a warm-up speech for President Trump, and he said, "We have elected presidents before warm-up speech for the president." Let's watch what he said. "We have elected presidents before, and we know how to do it." He said, "We love our military and our veterans and our law enforcement and our flag and our anthem, and we love the fact that Donald J. Trump is the President of the United States." Barack Hussein Obama himself tried to address in his speech, saying that the Republican attempts to paint Joe Biden as Joe Biden, as a Latin American-style communist, were ridiculous. He was senator from Delaware. He was my vice president. I think people would know if he were a secret socialist by now. Hispanics were just part of the electoral coalition Obama assembled in his Florida victories along with the young and black voters 4 years ago. And you know that. So Obama said in that rally that it was embarrassing that Hillary Clinton lost. We thought Florida would do better, he says, but we are seeing much of the highest youth turnout in history now. We are seeing more and more African Americans take to the streets every day, not only to protest, but to what? Trump campaign said, poll showing that Republican might have a big advantage during in-person voting on election day. Trump and Republican can build on traditional Cuban sport in South Florida while continuing to turn out their faithful in northern part of state. It could go a long way toward ensuring that President Donald Trump wins again. Florida, with its 29 electoral votes, is once again an electoral battleground, and that could decide the presidency. Florida, as a Republican friend state, we all know that. And yes, the poll shows that race is tight, but President Trump has strong position than Joe Biden. The next news are the supporters of President Donald Trump are being targeted in Coronado, California, with yard signs reading "Racism lives here." I think that's their democratic agenda, who now targeted the Trump supporters. That are designed to mimic Trump Pence lawn signs. Several residents had the signs placed on their lawns or gates in the small island community, often where Trump signs or flags had already been displayed. The Coronado Police Department received 6 phone calls from residents complaining about these unwanted lawn signs that mirror the colors, font, and design of Trump 2020. 2 of the callers had Trump signs or flags decorating their home, according to the Coronado Police Department spokeswoman Leah Corbin. Officers are in process of collecting security camera footage from one of the homes. Additionally, officers will be out and patrolling those areas, she added. Catholic President Bill Donohoe said Wednesday that Joe Biden continued moving further away from the beliefs of the Catholic Church, putting himself on a collision course with the U.S. bishops. The U.S. bishops came out with a powerful declaration in favor of the defending girls' sports from the intrusion of cross-dressing males, while Joe Biden has come out in favor of radical gender theory. The Biden campaign website is flagging their candidate pledge to allow boys to compete against girls in girls' sports. Dr. Donohoe notes to qualify, all the boys have to do is say they are a girl, and bingo, they can compete. In their statement, Auckland Bishop Michael C. Barber, chairman of Bishops' Committee on Catholic Education, told Sub-Bishop David A. Gondarla, chairman of the Subcommittee for the Promotion and Defense of Marriage, urged the passage of the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act of 2020. Dr. Donohoe notes Joe Biden has taken the opposite position, making it a priority in his campaign. Donohoe writes, allowing boys who self-identify as girls to crash girls, athletes, and to use the same locker room and shower facilities is not a side issue for Catholic Joe. Donohoe writes, no, his website says he will act on this pledge on his first day in office. The Biden campaign is once again out of step with the bishops, he adds. Gender theory is the latest in a series of issues on which Joe Biden has placed himself in furious opposition to the Catholic Church, in addition to his radical support for abortion and gay marriage, as well as his opposition to the election of school and hostility to religious freedom. Next, we have a very interesting update for you. Joe Biden's transition from natural gas could give Michigan, California-style rolling blackouts at California prices. Democrat nominee Joe Biden's energy policies could have a devastating impact on Michigan that could potentially destroy 160,000 energy jobs, decimate the auto industry, impede manufacturing operations, increase home heating expense, and create California-style rolling blackouts in the Great Lakes states. Joe Biden's proposal to eliminate fracking, transition from the oil industry, and achieve zero emission by 2035 would adversely impact nearly every sector of Michigan economy, starting with the jobs directly related to the oil and gas industry. Banning or phasing out fracking would decimate natural gas production and increase energy costs for Michigan households. Nearly 75% of homes in Michigan are heated with natural gas, and the cold weather state is among the top 5 in the U.S. for natural gas users. California Governor Newsom recently admitted that his state needs backup plan for energy because blackouts caused by lack of wind and overcast skies have shown the danger of relying solely on green energy. One can only imagine how could a weather state like Michigan will fare with 100 renewable power grids when even sunny breeze California can keep the powers on. Joe Biden's all-electric future will whip out millions of Americans' auto sector jobs and send the rest to China. Joe Biden's and Democrats' Green New Deal-like policies would not only hamstring the state of Michigan manufacturing, but also potentially eliminate tens of thousands of Michigan's auto sector jobs. That because of New York Democrat AOC Green Deal calls for elimination of the internal combustion engine and its replacement with the zero-emission battery electric vehicle (EV). Joe Biden has adopted similar goals for transitioning to an all-electric vehicle market. Americans, listen carefully. Joe Biden and Democrats' energy policies will replace United States of America reliable fossil fuel-based energy infrastructure with an unreliable renewable energy grid that is vulnerable to rolling blackouts. At the time, his policy would also dramatically increase the strain on our power grids from all the electric vehicles that will need to be plugged into to be recharged. Electric vehicles not our future, but the destruction of the world. I prefer to ride on a horse than an electrical car. President Donald Trump thanked the next story is a very interesting story we have. So the next news. President Donald Trump thanked an anonymous tree climber who on Tuesday over Twitter for placing pro-Trump flag in trees across Lufkin, Texas. Trump tweeted that someone was stealing Trump signs in a town, so an anonymous tree climber placed 30 signs all over the community. It is unclear who the anonymous sign dropper is at the time, nor is it clear how the tree climber was able to make it up to the top of the tree to place the pro-Trump flag. A very, very disgusting news I'm going to share with you today. It's about Anil Anwar, the first, I think so, the first Muslim congresswoman. Democrats Anil Anwar renewed her call for the complete removal of the Minneapolis Police Department she said need to be dismantled, and completely get rid of it. Anwar told the magazine that the need to disband and dismantle the get rid of the Minneapolis Police Department comes out of a place of understanding that they don't have credibility within our community, asserting that it is operating with impunity. The defund police movement is not unique to progressive in Minneapolis. Left-wing agitators across the nation have seized on racial unrest and have demanded their respective city leaders to defund the police, all the while many have inflicted carnage on their cities, supposedly in the name of racial justice. Protests have disseminated Philadelphia in recent days following the fatal police shooting of a black man armed with a knife. Monday night, riots resulted at least 30 injured officers. Barack Hussein Obama hit the campaign trail for presidential hopeful Joe Biden in battleground Florida on Tuesday and defended protesting during his speech to supporters. Biden and Harris understand that protest is not un-American. This country was founded on protesting against injustice, Barack Hussein Obama said, praising Americans for joining together to declare in the face of injustice that Black lives matter no more but no less. That all said Barack Hussein Obama. The White House condemned the 2 days of rioting and looting in Philadelphia, noting federal law enforcement resources stood ready to assist. The Trump administration stands proudly with the law enforcement and stands ready upon request to deploy any and all federal resources to end these riots. White House Press Secretary Kelly McEnany said in a statement. The statement was issued after his second night of looting and rioting in the city in response to a police shooting as reported by the Breitbart News. On Tuesday night, a large crowd, approximately 1,000 people, looted businesses in one area of the city, according to the police department. President Trump blamed Joe Biden, supporting the radicals, for destroying the cities after two Philadelphia police officials shot and killed 27-year-old Walter Wallace Jr. on Monday. Wallace reportedly approached the officers holding a knife and ignored repeated orders to drop the weapon. The White House statement noted the police shootings must be investigated, but the facts of the case should be resolved in a peaceful manner. In America, we resolve conflict through the courts and justice system. We can never allow mob rule, White House Press Secretary Kelly McEnany said in a statement. Miles Taylor, Chief of Staff at the Department of Homeland Security under Kirstjen Nielsen, revealed on Wednesday that he was the anonymous senior White House official who authored a critical op-ed of President Donald J. Trump. 2018 op-ed published by the New York Times described the President Trump as impetuous, adversarial, petty, and ineffective. Miles Taylor revealed his identity to the prominent media outlets on Wednesday afternoon, despite denying he was responsible for the op-ed in previous interviews. Miles Taylor had very little access to the president, but the New York Times described him as a senior official at the time of the op-ed publishing. Conservative news outlet Breitbart News first reported on Taylor's opposition to the president's agenda in May 2019. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.